My name's Richard and I've been driving EVs for over 10 years. And whilst the Renault 5 is a lovable, cute thing, there's a couple of little bits that, I don't know, I think there could be room for improvement. It's been heavily reviewed, this car, and everyone seems to love it. And of course, it's easy to see why. It's got so many nice little details and cute features about it. But there's a couple of things that bug me a little bit as well. So I'm going to do a review of this car, but be very transparent and tell you what those are as well. Also, what I want to do is tell you what the real-world range of this car is going to be. So I'm going to take it on a range test and cover a mixture of motorway, city and country driving as well, to get the efficiency and real-world capable range of this car, because typically, whatever manufacturer tells you a car will travel, it won't go quite that far. But what's the real test going to be? We'll find out in this video. Also, if you're just about to sort of consider this, because it's so cute, as your first electric car, I'm going to explain to you how 10,000 miles of driving is probably going to cost you under £200 in charging this car. So 2 tanks of petrol, diesel, that'd easily cost 200, wouldn't it? Well, that could cover 10,000 miles in this car. Exactly how much it's going to cost, I will reveal in this video once I've done some calculations of the range. So this is going to be a real kind of honest, good points, bad points review. Not get too blown away by its cutesiness. What's it actually really like? Where could it be improved? A little bit of how it compares to the Peugeot E208. I must say, when I was younger, I had the Peugeot 205. When you were younger, what did you have? The Renault 5, the Peugeot, the Golf, or the Citroën? Well, I had a Citroën Saxo AX GT as well. Anyway, all coming up in this video. Stick with me and I'll reveal exactly what I think about the new Renault 5. My name's Richard, this is RSEV, and boy, this is cute. But let's go beyond that. Okay, I brought the E208 out here because, well, when I was young, I was a Peugeot 205 man. Will the Renault win me over? We'll find out. But I've reviewed this car before, actually a couple of years ago, but we'll include a link to our review video of that. It still stands. It's a lovely little stylish French hatchback that I really like. We just happen to have it here today, so it's just going to act as our camera car, and then we can get a comparison for the real world range and efficiency. Maybe you've bought one of these, had it for a couple of years, and now you're tempted by the other little French hatchback, so you can see whether that's any better or worse for efficiency, for example. So let's move to the Renault 5. This is a lovely green colour. It's actually quite striking. I wouldn't have picked it out in the book, but when you get this in the sunlight, it's got some lovely metallic sparkles to it. So we'll try and get a shot of that shown here. It is, of course, littered with all these little stylish details. A little light up 5 here that shows you how much battery charge you've got in it. The little flag, the little cockerel there, little 5s there. There's just little bits all over it. And what a beautiful little bit of retro design this is. And it carries through into the interior as well. So the inside is full of nice little details as well. Good mixture of materials, so little spongy bits on the dashboard here.
Hey, let me introduce myself a bit.
Okay, here's our little assistant who seems to...
I'm your pilot at your service.
Okay, good.
I'm here to help make your Renault ride more safe and comfortable.
Okay, good stuff.
For example, I can send you messages like these.
Let's skip him. Although he's very cute, a little bit like this car, there are a few annoying bits. So I want to kind of get a bit of moaning out of the way first, because of course we all want to love this car and I don't want to keep interrupting the video with some moans about it. So let me just do a few initial things. Whilst it's very nice in here, I love the materials, love the headlining, the steering wheel feels nice, the quality is quite good. I do not understand why I've got 4 stalks here. I've got, what's this? This is lights and indicators, and I've got drive, reverse. There's no park button actually. I keep pressing the end of this for park like a Tesla. Then we've got wipers on this stalk. Then there's another stalk down here with some stereo controls, because although I've got all the buttons in the world on the steering wheel here, I've still got 4 stalks. It just seems a bit much and a bit excessive. So, maybe we don't need it quite sort of Tesla Model 3 minimal with no stalks at all, but the 3 on the right hand side here are just pure irritating. The other thing that's initially irritating, even before you step in this car, is the key. All right, let me show you. Because it's this. Now, Renault, I remember these from, oh, God knows, 10, 15 years ago, Renault Megans and such like, and it hasn't moved forward in all that time. You can't attach this to your keys, so it doesn't go on a key ring. Then you have to have this separately in your pocket, and then there's nowhere really for it to go when you're in the car, or you keep it in your pocket. I just find that a bit of a sort of lame thing. You know, you design all this nice stuff, then you've got a key like that. The other thing, a power button to start it and stop it, and then a separate handbrake buttons here and auto hold. I don't understand why, you know, like Tesla do, and like even my wife's VW ID3 or the Buzz or something like that. You get in the car, press the brake and it starts, and then when you finish you push park and you get out and that does the handbrake for you. So it's almost like we've got a kind of little hybrid mixture between what a combustion car was, now it's electric, but you've kept all these bits, you don't need it. So there's a couple of bits like that that just kind of have bugged me a little bit. And then there's a bit about how it drives as well, so I'll come on to that when I am driving, because I wasn't initially blown away, but I think I'm coming around to it, so I'll explain that bit in a minute. What I will say in here, very spongy seats, kind of reminiscent of the original ones actually, I do remember them, but with good bolsters, so although they're squidgy, you do still feel hugged in by this. It's quite a small car. Is there any room in the back? Not much, let me show you. So I'm 6 foot tall, and this is the seat in my position, so it's a fair way back, right? Now, I'm not saying the Peugeot E208 is much better, I remember that, but yes, you need to do something if you're going to carry anybody in the back here, really. It is very small. I mean, we've got a flat floor here, but, you know, for kids, look, it's a small hatchback. I'm not going to sort of moan about it, but if you've got ambitions of, although it's a 5-seat, it must be quite good for people in the back, no, it's not. And the boot space, well, actually it's okay. It's about what you expect of a car this size. There's a little bit of underfloor storage for your cable as well. Of course, the seats fold down. So, a small little car, but with 5 doors. I like the way the door handles are hidden, that's all cool, but I wouldn't carry people in the back too often. Like I say, the Peugeot E208 isn't really any better. I've got to say, it's a limitation of such a small car. So right, let's get it out for a drive. We're going to do a test loop, and we're going to drive in a sort of real world driving style. I'm not going to try for mega efficiency, normal driving mode. Country roads, I can do like a triangle. We've got country roads, then dual carriageway, then a bit through town, so I can get a handle of what its efficiency and real world range will be for a real mixture of conditions. For electric cars, they tend to be less efficient at the higher speeds, so motorways tend to be more efficient, or most efficient, on the kind of consistent A and B road, you know, maybe 40, 50 miles per hour. And then around town, pretty efficient, but if you're doing lots of stop-start, ultimately you've got the climate control running, it will usually lose a little bit of efficiency there. So let's see what it gets. It is warm today, quite breezy, but mild, so it's about 21 degrees here at the moment, so no heating on. That will make a difference in winter. So it should be pretty optimal conditions for today. This would be like, it's probably quite good side of its efficiency. And like I say, we've got this car here at the moment, the E208, so we may as well run that side by side and see how it compares as a bit of a benchmark, because I think there might be people going from that car to this car if they think this car is cute enough, which you probably will. So before we get started, I will also mention that this car has come to us from myurbancar.com, and they've been reviewing this car as well. So I haven't looked at their reviews yet, deliberately, because I didn't want to kind of be swayed by anything they've said or done. So I kind of said, well, I won't look at their reviews and real world tests yet. I will of course do so, and I recommend that you do so as well. myurbancar.com for some more testing of this. You know, it's not just me and my test today. They've done more longer journeys. First things first, the turning circle, very good. It beeps at you as soon as you go 1 mile per hour over the speed limit. There's possibly a way to turn that off, but I'm getting quite a lot of, yes, I know, yeah. I've actually gone back down to 30 then, I was at 31. So I'll just stick to 29, I think. So here it goes from 30 to 60, so this is a good chance to see what it's like for overtaking speed. So I'm currently doing exactly 30, that line here, go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 seconds I think, 30 to 60 miles an hour. It's brisk, it's not set the world on fire. It's obviously not like anyone's driven like Tesla Model 3 long range stuff, it's not that kind of thing, but it is pretty brisk and quite easy to overtake and everything like that. Now, I've got to admit, when I first drove this for just a very short journey, I was a little bit underwhelmed. it just felt a little bit spongy, quite a big steering wheel, quite light steering, not really any feel through the steering. And so I was thinking, it's a bit lacking, but it's the way I want it to be, basically. And that's because I do remember the original 5 Turbo. I know some in the family had one. I had the original 205 and such like, where we didn't have this sort of super lightweight power steering. We had a sort of very direct, small, you feel everything. The cars are very light, they're very reactive. And so, because of what it is, in my mind, that's kind of how I imagine it to be, I think, and it isn't. And that's mostly okay, actually, because most of the time when I'm driving, I do want a quiet, refined and easy to drive car. I don't want an original 205 or 105. I want it to be quiet and refined and enjoy it. So it's kind of how my expectations needed adjusting, basically. And as I drive it now, along a bit of country road, it is quite pleasant. Yes, I do find the steering a little bit vague. You know, it'd be nice to have probably a smaller steering wheel, just a little bit, and a bit stiffer steering, especially when you're in sport mode, and a bit more direct, so a bit more like the steering of a Tesla Model 3, for example. It would be nice, just to make it feel a little bit more hot-hatchy, I think. However, if you just take this as a compact hatchback and what's it like, you just go, well, yes, it is actually quite pleasant. It's quite smooth. It's got quite big tyres, actually, and big sidewalls, but it means that helps with its ride, which is quite smooth, even on these bumpy country roads. It is quite quiet. The steering, actually, once you get it turned into a corner, it does rotate round nicely, so it can be a bit of fun. And whilst I'm just cruising along here as I talk to the camera, like, I was driving a bit more enthusiastically on some roads, and it was absorbing the bumps, it changes directions, and it made me smile. And that is really important. So it does get a thumbs up. It is good fun. And that comes with having a car that is fairly lightweight. I think it's about 1,400 kilos, and it is quite nimble. So it does pass the country test, although it just needed different opinions from what I had. Now, what I'm going to show here is its turning circle. And it's going to come around here, and easy equals light steering. Good tight steering lock combined with the short wheelbase means that a little U-turn like that, super easy. Okay, right, let's pull out this junction here. So, yeah, a little bit of traction control and a bit of loose gravel there. And you actually get a little bit of torque steer as well, as you kind of accelerate with undulations. And that's fine, that gives it a bit of character, you know. It's a bit hot actually that way. So, you know, again, the steering is reactive, but I can do that. It's just a bit light. I want it to kind of self-center a bit more. Again, I think maybe the recent Minis are a bit better at that kind of sort of firmer, more direct steering. I think I would prefer personally, but again, what I'm learning here is that it's just super easy to live with, and a country road is still a bit of fun. Now, next section, bit of dual carriageway, so I'm going to be travelling at motorway speeds. How will it handle that when you come out of the countryside? Well, so here we are. Eventually we're travelling at motorway speeds behind a Citroen Berlingo. 70 miles per hour. It's okay, so I don't have to raise my voice too much. There's a bit of road noise on coarser surfaces, and there's a bit of wind flutter around the wing mirrors, but that's nothing too extraordinary. It's quite pleasant. Be fine to do a longer journey in it. I don't see any reason why not. It's for a small car, remember, just a small hatchback. It is nicely refined at the kind of motorway speed, so that's good. On this one at least I've got adaptive cruise control and everything like that. So longer journeys, motorway trips, no problem. So sitting in traffic around town, again, this is where electric cars are great. You can just shuffle backwards and forwards, nice and peaceful, nice and quiet, relax, listen to the radio, no problem. The adaptive cruise control, actually, you can use that to kind of just keep following that car in front at a distance. So around town, small electric cars are just ideal anyway, super easy to drive. It's where I guess the light steering comes into its own for parking ease as well. So yeah, perfect town companion, absolutely. I'll tell you what you do notice when you're driving around town is the amount of people that look at this car. It gets a lot of attention. Even at the front of our unit for 10 minutes filming the intro, 3 cars stopped and pulled up next to us to go, oh, look at that, that's an Renault 5, that's cool. It gets a lot of attention, that's for sure. It's not subtle. Lots of love. You know, everyone's like, oh, that's cool, cool. So is this the coolest car on the road? Probably is. I quite like the driving position in this car. What I do find in some cars is that I can't sort of straighten my left leg out. BMW i4, much bigger car than this, and yet this car, being small, I can still straighten my left leg out nice and straight. I feel like I'm sitting quite nice and directly straight with the steering wheel. The console here isn't kind of encroaching like a Polestar 2. It's kind of a bit further back, and I can move my knee around. Certainly my left knee, my right knee, I'm tending to find them leaning against the door card and where the electric window switches are. But they have kind of put a little bit of padding in that section, so it's a little bit padded, so it's not unpleasant. The steering wheel is quite big for the size of car, but it does sort of feel nice, you know, to hold. It's a little bit chunky, and it's got like a nice, if it's not leather, it certainly feels like nice fresh leather on this one. Nice new steering wheel feel. And then it means you can actually kind of sit here comfortably, even on long journeys. You've got the squidgy seat. It is soft, but because the bolsters are quite good, they hold you in nicely. So from just a kind of comfort and position point of view, I think it's really quite nice. I don't think I've got a separate lumbar adjustment, no. I've got manual seat adjustments here for height and forward back, but I haven't found any kind of lumbar adjustment. So it'd be kind of nice to have that. I'm not sure how it'd feel on a longer journey because it feels quite soft at the back here. But if you're doing lots of long journeys, you're probably not buying a small little compact hatchback anyway, are you? Right, the Renault 5. Let's talk about efficiency and running costs before I sort of round things up a little bit. 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour on that. That was very good, actually. Slightly better than I thought it would get. It's sort of, you know, it's a mild day, but it is windy. It's dry, so it's pretty optimal conditions. We didn't do too much on the motorway. If you were just sat at 70, I could see it starting to drop on its efficiency. Then it went back up again in town. So if you're just on the motorway, it's going to impact a little bit more. But what does that mean for running costs? Well, basically, if you were to charge this from home on an overnight tariff every 10,000 miles worth of driving, it's going to cost you £155 based on that 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour. £155 on home charging for 10,000 miles worth of driving. Does that sound good? Yes, it does. Excellent. What did the Peugeot do for efficiency? It got exactly the same, 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Slightly bigger battery in this would give this a real world range in today's conditions of 212 miles. That car in today's conditions, 191 miles. That's just because it's got a slightly smaller battery. So you can't see my hair blowing around, but it's really windy out here now. The Renault 5 then, as a summary, not quite what I wanted it to be initially. You know, again, I kind of hark back because of my age to when you had the original Renault 5s and the original Peugeot 205s, the old school hot hatches, lightweight, nimble, heavier steering because it didn't have power steering, all that kind of stuff. And it isn't that. So initially I was like, oh, it's not quite, but this is what it is today. We don't need heavy steering. If I drove one of those cars today, it wouldn't be as good. So my summary, I don't like the key, I don't like the plethora of stalks hanging off the steering column, plus a steering wheel full of buttons. That's just silly, sort that out. Not quite Tesla Simple Extreme perhaps, but that's a bit silly and the key's rubbish. The steering wheel's a bit light and it doesn't self-center, it doesn't go firm enough. I want it in sports mode to be a bit more kind of firm steering and self-centering, so it does feel a little bit more hot hatchy. Having said that, it is so easy to live with, it is still fun on a country road. It's very pleasant on a motorway and it's super easy to live with around town. So it's just a very nice, easy to live with car. The materials inside the cabin are great. It's got such nice details to it. And it is just fun. It makes you smile. It makes you smile when you walk up to it. It makes you smile being in it. It makes you smile when you're driving it. And that counts for a lot. So the Renault 5 gets my thumbs up. it is just a brilliant all-round car and super easy to live with. So I'm going to go and see some of the other reviews now. I haven't watched any because I didn't want to kind of steer my opinions. I know people have been raving about it and saying it's brilliant and I love it, but I haven't sort of seen the details. So I'm going to watch them and maybe they agree, maybe they disagree. But that's my thoughts on the Renault 5. So thank you for watching my take and my review on this car. And hopefully I can see you in another video very soon. Thank you for watching.